it is time for the next video in this series from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford, and as with the first one here, we are going to be colouring with Castle Arts pencils a mixture of Soft Touch, Harmonious and Pasteltint. I have my big swatch chart here to help me. As I said yesterday, the swatch chart is available in my Ko-fi to download for free, so if you feel like you want to mix yours up in this way or just have a look at what's available, you can go and have a little look at that. Right, mushroom. Now I quite often like doing these orangey red. I'm just having a little look at the way it's drawn, having a little think. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that just because it's how I like to do them. I'm just in the mood for doing how I like. Maybe that's just normal. Okay, so let's have a look at our little choice of colours. Okay, we have some really pretty tones we could use. I think I'm going to start with the Venetian red, which is a soft touch colour. Oh, here we go. This one. Oh, you need to come in a bit closer. Sorry. You might want to see a bit more clearly now. I'm a little bit confused by what's going on here. We've got these sort of layers. Do you see we've got this wiggly line? I think I'm going to start colouring here above the line and then ponder about that other bit after. So I'm just going to start here. And I'm probably going to put my Venetian red quite heavily along the bottom and the sides. And then we'll sort of fade our colour towards the centre. And just see where it leads us, really. It's so sunny today. I've got my blind shut. You know, I'm like, oh good, it's light weather, I can see better to record. Not in the morning apparently, the sun comes right in across the desk. So I had to shut the blind. But I've just been out in the sunshine, had a little walk. It's only a quick walk with my son. We were trying to spot, we can't find the mandarin ducks, they've disappeared. If you don't know what they are, mandarin ducks, look them up because they are the most beautiful ducks, so colourful. And the males are, you know in Animal Kingdom, that it's the males that are all the colours, to attract the females, whereas in humans we seem to have reversed that a little bit, and maybe not so much in more modern times, but it all seemed to be the women that would dress up to impress their men, that sort of thing. I'm just going to sharpen this a bit. Oh, there's my sharpener. So anyway, they are very brightly coloured, orange and other colours too. The females are grey and white, like black and white. They almost look like monochrome, and I think they're really pretty too, just in their own way. So anyway, we didn't find them, but we saw some daffodils, which is always a pleasure. It's weird, I'm not a huge fan of daffodils in that, I don't know why, but the colour, I love the pop of yellow coming out of like a undergrowth of grass and brambles, and you've got this beautiful yellow pop coming at you. It's just lovely. Right, I've done that Venetian red. I need to choose my next colour. I'm going to go for the peach. Here it is. If you have an older set of Castle Soft Touch, this peach will be called Flesh Deep. Okay, they changed the names, obviously realising that they need to be a bit careful saying flesh because, everyone's different colour, and which is fair enough, because they certainly are. And anyway, so the daffodils were out, which was nice, and sun was out, lots of people were out, lots of dog walkers, we always get along the canal, joggers. Weren't so many cyclists, which is nice, because the cyclists, they don't seem to like getting out of the way, and they're fast, and I worry they're going to knock me in the water. I'm sure they're not, but there are certain bits of the canal where the river runs along the other side, not the way we went today, and I sort of often feel a bit vulnerable that if I'm between canal and river and a cyclist comes by, you have to choose which way to go. And you're either teetering on the edge of the river. I mean, I say teetering, it's not that tight, but you're like, ooh, not very keen on this. Now we're going to go paler, and I'm going to go Should we do that? I'm going to try, oh, what's that colour? Oh, that's a bit too dark. Coral blush. Oh, it looks a bit dark, actually. Let me look. Yeah, that's actually almost the same colour that we just used, I think. Let's try it. This is one of the pastel tints. I think it's a bit lighter. I'm just sort of filling in the gaps that I've missed, like around these teardrop shapes. I don't know why my desk is being so creaky today. It's really creaking. So anyway, but yes, we saw lots of friendly people saying good morning and things. It's really nice. I don't know whether it's a thing about walking in the countryside generally or whether it's just our town. I'm going to get one last lighter colour and just sort of finish it off and meld it all together. What colour was that? That was a coral blush. Yeah, I am going to use a petunia pink if I can find it. Is that it there? No. Creek. Oh, there it is. Petunia pink. I'm going to give it a sharpen and then just, as I say, go over everything and just try and blend and meld it a bit. Now, these don't smushy blend in the same way that a Prismacolor will, but you will just fill in all the little gaps that you've left. Well, I will fill in all the gaps I've left. I can't speak for you. You may have done a neater, better job than me, but I tend to find that I miss little bits. There we go. So yes, it was a lovely little walk. My son said he had a bit of a headache. He's having a few side effects from some new pills that he's taking, but anyway, he's taken some pills and he's gone off to try and do some work, so I'm hoping that he can get on with something. But my boys both got a week off this week of uni where they need to try and sort of get their heads down and get some work done on their assignments, because they won't have to take up a lot of time with travel and classes. That's okay, isn't it? The colours work okay together there. Now what are we going to do under here? Well, I'm thinking maybe this sort of stem, we could do a bit of this, a sort of, I'd quite like to do a muted grey peach, but I'm just making something up. Does such a colour exist? We have the carnation. I'm going to try that now. Where is that? Here it is. Oh. And the calamine. This might work. So we're back into our Pasteltint colours. And I'm just going to try this lower bit of stem. I don't know why I've decided to jump down here. It's because I can't decide what to do up there. I do know why. It needs a sharpen. Everything needs a sharpen today. There we go. My husband said he was going to vacuum and mop the kitchen floor, but my other son isn't out of bed yet. He was doing a live stream thing last night. I'm not sure what it was, but well, I sort of think I know. And it started late and finished late. Basically, it was going to be from 9 till 11. And he said, can I do it? Because, you know, normally he doesn't talk after 10 because he knows I try and go to sleep then. And I said, yeah, but, you know, shut your bedroom door. And I went up to bed about, it was actually just after 9. I went upstairs. I was reading a book a bit and sort of settling. You know, I like to go up to bed early and just potter about a bit, settle myself. You know, by the time you brush your teeth, you might put on some moisturiser, all those sorts of things. I'm not really a moisturiser type person, but my skin needs me to do it at times. And doing all that, then I quite like that. Then you know, sort of settle later, read a bit of a book, play a few games of Candy Crush. This is calamine. I'm going to try this for this top one. Now we have some sort of layers on this, lines, you know, like it's layered. So I'm going to try and use those, although they're quite narrow. And what I'm going to try to do is put a darker layer on the edges and a bit of a lighter bit in the middle. It's a bit tricky, as I say, because it's narrow and we're using this very pale colour, so it may not show up very much. I'm going to have a go. and just put a little bit in the middle and put more on these edges and just see if it shows up. I'm finding it hard to see. Oh, I can't tell really because the lamp is shining off the pencil, because the pencil's very shiny. The lamp is shining off it, so I can't actually see what the colour looks like, but anyway, I will persevere and contort my head. Yeah, so he was streaming between 9 and 11, then he messaged me about 11 saying sorry it's going to go on a bit late, but when I went to bed I could hear him. I went up and shut his bedroom door so it was a bit quieter and I couldn't hear him at all, and he sent me this apology. I decided to do this business colour and I didn't get it because I was asleep. So it was all fine. I can tell him actually, because he tends not to talk after I go to bed because of the noise, but I can tell him that if he shuts his bedroom door, it's fine. The only thing I worry about is that it gets really hot in his bedroom, so if he shuts his bedroom door, it gets so hot in there. I'll talk to him about it this morning if he ever gets up. It's 10:15, he's not out of bed yet. But he was up late. As I say, he's usually up till midnight though. He's probably might have been up a bit later. But anyway, there we go. I'm going to put something here under here to look more like a shadow, because I think that I'm trying to layer it up a little bit on the edges, but it's not, because it's a pale colour. It doesn't show up that much. But I'll do that in a minute because I want to put some shadow under here as well and under here. So we'll grab something later and do that. Excuse me. Now normally under here I would do a dark brown, but that's not going to look very nice with these paler colours. It's not going to work. So we want something a bit prettier, I think. And I might just go for the coral. Let's see if I can find, where is it? Not that way. It's a big pencil case with all these colours in it. It's great. Lovely Becky sent this to me. Coral. It's really, really useful. Right. So thank you, Becky. Now, with this, I want to try and add a little bit of texture. So what I tend to do with these is to find a line here, go darker here, and then fade it to the edge. You can do this in either direction, I think, and do the same here. It might not look quite so effective with this slightly paler colour, but we'll see. Just give it a go. And that, you could change direction here, but I think I'm just going to carry on in the same direction. There we go. I want to go out for another walk really today. Yesterday I did 2 walks. I did the walk that I did this morning, so it's only quite a short walk with my son, and then I walked back to the supermarket where my husband was to meet him to do the shopping. It's okay. It looks a little bit textury when I sit back and look in the camera. Now we've got this little rim to do. Again, I might match this in with the, someone told me what they were called. Can't think. Anyway, I am thinking maybe the wheatgrass. What colour is that? It's really pale. Don't know if it's going to show up. The snow waffle's a bit too pale. I'm looking at, yeah, we don't want to go too far away from these sorts of colours. Just bring it in. See these sort of area here. What about that blushing rose? Is that a bit too pink? I think that's a bit too pink. See, the wheatgrass and peach are a bit pale. I might try the rosa. Where are you? There you are. Oh. Rosa. I'm going to do these first. And what I want to do with these is leave a little bit of white all around the edge and just colour in the centre bit. Now for the ones, this one, we can only see part of it, so we can go up to that top like that, but for these we need to just do like the middle. You don't have to do it this way. I quite like doing it this way. Like that. And then for this edge, I'm going to keep using this. I want it darker here. And then sort of fade it towards the middle. So it helps to start adding a bit of shape. And the same here. This bit in here would be quite shadowy, you can imagine there. But we can get a darker pencil to add a bit of that in. Like that. Now, before we move on to our little bird box or other bits, I'm going to add my sort of shadows in. Now I'm thinking, what colour do I want to use to add shadow into this sort of peachy colour? Well, we could use a brown, I like using like a grey, but I think it's going to be really harsh if we use a grey, but I'm not sure that I've got anything else that's really going to work. That's a sort of darker version of this, unless I use like the Chinese orange, but I don't think it's going to really work. Let me have a look. I think I'm going to be best off using maybe I'm going to go for the black olive. It's a Harmonious grey. Oh, where are you? There. Some of the Harmonious colours are so similar to each other that it's quite difficult to make a choice. So I'm going to start here actually and just go under here with a line, a sort of shadow. I want this to look like it's raised slightly above the main part of our mushroom. I think that's how it's drawn. I think these little lines that are drawn here are supposed to be marked on in white as sort of to look like there's a bit of shine. I probably won't do that. I might not. So I'm just gently layering it up. So I don't want a big black harsh line, but I want it to look like there's a bit of shadow. And on these edges I'm just going to put a little bit here and fade it in a tad, just to make it look a little bit more rounded. Same on this side here. I don't feel like I need to do that so much up here because we varied the colour so much. It works. I'm going to do it a little bit on these edges, and I can put a little bit more down on here because it's a bit of a darker colour. Like that. And in there, I want quite a significant amount. Like that. There we go. A little bit here and here. You can see it makes a little bit of difference, but something else we need to do is a shadow from this front part. So all the way along here there'd be a little bit of a shadow going on, and down there, just gonna fill that in. And it'll just bring that forward a tad. And then with these I was trying to make them look like there was a bit of shadow. I'm trying not to press too hard. I just want a little bit either side of that line. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just going to give it a go. There we go. Yeah, so yesterday I went for the walked up to the supermarket, and then I went into town later, and I managed to do over 10,000 steps, which is, I don't usually manage. It's not my aim. It is what we're told we should do by the UK government type, you know, you should aim for 10,000 steps a day, but it's a lot and it takes a lot of time. And so I don't want to set myself an unrealistic goal that I can't ever hit. So I tend to just say I'm going to try and go for a walk each day. And I have been, and that's great. Did I do that bit? It needs a bit more. There we go. Now I'm thinking I just want to do a little bit under each of these teardrop shapes. I do find putting shadow under these bits really quite hard to get it looking right, but I feel like I should keep persevering and trying. Maybe I need a sharper pencil, and hopefully I'll get there. What I find hard is getting the angle right for that circle. When your pencil breaks, it doesn't help. I'm just trying to go around the bottom, but sometimes it just looks a bit weird. There we go. Yeah, I can't, why did I, oh, I went back into town yesterday to get rid of a load of stuff. It was great. I had some recycling. I found some pills in the cupboard that were out of date that I took to the chemist. You hand them back into the chemist and they safely dispose of them. I would never want to just throw them in the bin or whatever, you know. Don't know. I'm just going to brush that off where my pencil broke. Woo! There we go. Right. I'm thinking it looks rather cute in these sort of peachy colours. Let's look at our bird box now. I feel like I want to do it in wood, like a brown wood, but I think maybe I'll wait a minute. Look, is that a mailbox? That's just cute. Maybe I'll wait and I'll do all the rest first and see what other colours come to me. You know, what colour am I going to do these mushrooms? Let's do the grass and then have a think. Now, what colour grass is going to go well with peach? Well, I don't want to go too dark. I want to keep this as my focal point. Let's have a look. I'm going to use the, what's that colour there? I want something that isn't too, I'm going to use the begonia. Is that it there? It's a Pasteltint one. And I'm going to just see how it looks on its own. I might want to put something over the top because, you know, obviously the pastel tints are quite pale. Now, because we can see all these tufts growing upwards, I want to colour in a motion that way so that it looks like we've got our strands of grass. It's quite difficult when you're doing the edges to go in this direction, but I'm just going to give it a go. Now, I'm not going to press mega hard. It's tempting to, because with such a pale colour it doesn't show up hugely, but I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to put another colour on top, so I feel that I need to be a little bit careful. If I press too hard I'm going to flatten the tooth of the paper and then we're not going to have the ability to add any more colour. So let's just take it gently. And work our way across it. It's a bit too pale. I shall add something else on top in a minute. But what we can do is we can add little tufts. Can you see how these are drawn on? We could do something like that. Let's have a think. I really should just put the, I'm taking all the pencils out of my pencil case. I really should leave them in there. And then it'd be easier for me to yes, I think that is going to work. Next to my begonia is my sap green. Now this is significantly darker, but I think it's going to look better. And what I'm going to do is just put little tiny tufts through my grass with this slightly darker colour, rather than colouring it all in this colour, and see how that looks. I might decide that I'm going to do the base of these bit tufts like this with it and let the tops be pale. Like that. Sorry, sniffing. Still got the remain end of the cold a bit. Oh, I woke up this morning, I was trying to be ever so quiet, let my son have a lie in. Fortunately he did and he was fine. And I had a flipping tickly throat. I was trying not to cough. And the more you try not to cough, the more you seem to. Oh, stop. But anyway, he was good. He was woke up chirping, had a good sleep. That was good. If he doesn't sleep well, he struggles. And he's always been prone to insomnia. So if you can't get off to sleep, it's good to try and let him sleep in, you know. And I didn't have anything. What I actually did was great. I woke up. I woke up about 6:45, which was a little bit. I usually wake up about 6, so I had a bit of a lie myself, which was nice. And then I grabbed my tablet, caught up on Instagram and the news, which probably wasn't a good idea, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then I'm just looking for a colour for these. I'm going to go for Savannah. Again, Savannah is a pastel tint colour. Here it is. I'm going to do my leaves, and if I do look a bit pale, I can add some darker colour like I did down here. And then I grabbed a book and I was reading for a while. I've got a book called Bill Bailey's Guide to Happiness. It's a fabulous book. I'd highly recommend it. And basically it's not a self-help book. Bill Bailey, if you don't know him, is a comedian and musician and bird watcher. And he wrote the book during lockdown because he just didn't have anything else to do. And he's a great writer, as you can imagine, being a comedian. He writes his own material, so it's a great writer. And it wasn't. It was just basically things that make him happy and written in a funny way. This is sap green. Things like the story tales of. I'm going to put a little bit of colour in the bottom, so I'm using the same colour as I did down here just to tie it together. Tales of his mother starting his love of music, and trips abroad that he'd had and experiences, and all sorts of things like that, and things in his garden, all sorts of tales which are both funny and him finding joy in just a moment of fixing his dishwasher or something like that, and tying it in with theories. So there's a theory that apparently if we swear, it makes us happy, it makes us endure things better. Apparently that he talks about an experiment which actually I did know about, where people put their hands in. I'm going to use the calamine for the stems of these 3. I've decided to do these 3 all the same colour and use the calamine for their stems. People put their hand in ice cold water, and now that's quite painful and you can only tolerate it to a certain extent. And half of them just said a neutral word and half of them swore, and they were given a script to say while they did it. And the people who swore had a far higher tolerance of the water, cold water, which I find quite fascinating. I'm going to use the petunia pink for the tops. I'm going to make them all the same. I'm going to do a similar thing to here though and try and make it a little more layered and darker at the bottom and side. And see, I always thought swearing was quite a negative thing, but apparently it helps you. So that was quite interesting. But so basically a little bit of sort of theory tied in with, you know, funny anecdotes. It's fantastic. I bought the book from my husband for last Christmas before. I know he's never read it, and I was looking through his ebooks the other day for something to read. We share access to his Kindle account. This is Rosa. I'm going to use it for the dots, and I noticed this book in there and I thought, oh, so I bought him it and he'd already bought it. But so I thought I'm going to read the actual copy though, this Venetian Red, rather than the ebook version, because I wasn't sure whether it's just a sample or the whole thing, you know. And it's quite bright door, isn't it? I feel like doing that in the same bright colour. I feel like you need to see it. You know, put my mail in here. Now we have the little box. I'd quite like to do it in these sorts of colours rather than brown. I don't really want to introduce new colours. I'm not necessarily going to go as dark as this Venetian Red though, but I think I might grab this peach and do this sort of little roofy bit in the peach, and I'm going to try to just gently fade it up towards the top a little bit. I mean, if it was on the top of a house, this is how I would do it, thinking that there would be more light coming down from the top. Now obviously this is underneath the shadow of this big umbrella of the mushroom, so it's not going to do that, but I'm going to do that anyway. And then we have the coral brush, which I'm going to use for the main part. I really want it to look like it's wooden, with sort of wooden slats, but like the one down there is, can't see it, but it's so small I'm not confident I can pull that off, so I'm just going to do this. Now I'm always confused as to what that dot is. Is that the perch they stand on to go in there? I think it is. So maybe it needs to be a little bit lighter. I'm going to put a bit darker under here, as if to make it look like that is sort of sticking out and there's some shadow there. And the same under here, whoops, and under there. And then I'm going to do that circle of each there a little bit paler. I'm going to use the coral for this circle. Yeah, I was reading that in bed, so that was nice. It was fun. Now, what do we use for our shadow? We used the black olive. Tempted to use that in here because we're looking inside. Inside there is going to be dark, isn't it? I think I need to block it right in. I was trying to make the outside darker, but then it didn't look quite right. And I might just draw that shadow in a bit more under there and there, and under the roof with our black olive. And here at the top of the stalks of each of these there would be a little bit of shadow, and then under these circles. Here we go. Oh, I do like those colours. I think they look quite pretty. So I think I am going to leave that. I'm not going to use any white. You could use some white on the teardrop shapes, maybe on the top. Shall I? I think I will. Let me show you. Now I like it like this, but you can add this white and it will have, what it will do was give it a more 3D effect if you just delete that bit. Delete. We're not on a computer. So it's like you're erasing this very top edge, and it just makes them look slightly more 3D, I think, if you compare the ones that are done and the ones that aren't done. But you don't have to do that at all. But you want to keep the bottoms dark so that it looks like shadow. We've already drawn in some of that shadow as well. It emphasises it even more. Oh, I'm thirsty. I've got a cup of tea next door. Go and grab in a minute. Getting dry. Goodness, it's 20 to 11. My son, what time he stayed up? He's going to have brunch at this rate. Right, there's that. Now, these little lines here, should we try them with the white on? I'm sure Johanna meant for them to look a little bit shiny. He's going to be so hungry. Actually, I can hear someone in the kitchen. Maybe he did get up. And we can do the tops of these as well. Or that might be my husband doing the cleaning. There we go. I'm going to leave it there. There we are. I'm happy with that actually. But that's that. So there we are. So thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, we've got to do something a little bit different tomorrow. I've got an idea. We'll see whether I've still got the idea when it comes to tomorrow. So I'm not going to share it in case I completely change my mind. But thank you for watching. Have a super day and happy colouring.